If you make it past your application process, you are invited for an interview. I was given a time, and I went to this time, and I went 2 hours early. I expected a lot more traffic than there was. And the guy in front of me didn't show up. So they were like, "You want to go?" And I was like, "No." But no, I said yes enthusiastically while I was, almost paying. You will dress in a suit, or for ladies, like, a suit. And I stress this because there has been, I guess, a redefining of what business attire is. Now, I understand that not everyone can go out and afford like a $600 suit. Like, I'm not telling you should do that. If you are told this is business attire, you wear business attire. That would include a jacket, a blouse, and or button-up. For men, it'd be a tie, pants, or women would be pants or skirt. We get to be versatile. Hey! And nice shoes. Now for ladies, because it's a very important fact, in Japan, bare legs are kind of a no-no. And by kind of, I mean they're a no-no. So if you're planning on wearing a skirt, you better find your local DSW and grab some pantyhose. The interview process is a job interview for a job in Japan. As such, you should probably dress as close to the Japanese business interview ideal as you can. What do you mean by this? Well, I personally wore a suit jacket, white button-up collared blouse, skirt, pantyhose, and plain black pumps. And by pumps, I mean like heel this big. Like, I'm not talking like, let's go girl, like to downtown and see how many shots we can down in 20 minutes. Like, I'm talking like your grandmother would be nervous if she had to walk around in these. I mean, granted, I get it. That's what I personally did. And it worked for me, apparently, so it could work for you, too. Just make sure that you look presentable and professional. I felt so bad for this girl. I wanted to say something, and she walked out too quickly. Skinny jeans and a thong. How do I know that she wore a thong? Let's just say she wasn't wearing a belt and her pants started to stretch out a little bit. So just make sure that you are professional and you look the part. Your interview process, at least in mine, which many people panic over, just consisted of, questions, which more than likely you can find sample questions and answers online. I say answers because don't go and spit out generic answers to them. They've heard it. It's not their first rodeo, not their second rodeo. It's probably like their 17th rodeo. When you give them the same answer for the 332nd time, like, you don't stand out. Sorry, you don't. So get creative. The following is probably the worst advice anyone can give you, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Don't really super prepare for the interview. What? Why would you say that? What? No. That's like, no. Yeah. I'm telling the truth. And why do you ask? Well, the interview process is going to be scary in its own right. It is probably going to terrify you to no end, and you will probably do what I started to do and print off every possible question that could be imaginable. I was just copy and pasting all of the questions that could possibly be asked to me. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to answer for each one of these. Like, I need to make sure that, like, they're perfect. And I was, like, writing down answers. I was like, oh, well, if they ask me this question, I'm going to make sure to use this wording so I sound smart. And then after, like, the 300th and 30,000th question that I was writing down, I realized, like, first off, I'm not going to remember anything that I've written down, and I'm probably going to freak out trying to remember the exact wording I used. And secondly, planning out your answer in some ways can a lot of times make your answer delivery a little less genuine. When you have rehearsed answers, it might come off as rehearsed and it might just kind of take away the meaning. Why are you passionate about this job? If you have this beautiful Shakespearean monologue all planned out and you lay it out, if only I could express to you how much I want to be an ALT, to be the teacher, or maybe even the student. If you have it too rehearsed and you're really nervous, it's probably going to come out like this, and it's going to seem like you don't really care about what you're saying, but you really do. You just don't want to pee your pants while you're sitting in the chair while they're watching you. It's good to kind of have an idea of what they're going to ask you, but don't rehearse your answers too much. Have keywords. Have like good keywords in your head. Like that's what I did. I had spark words, opportunity, and enthusiasm, passion. You don't have to remember answers, but if you can remember those like keywords, like the spice words, even if what you're saying is super bland, if you like pop in some pepper. Yeah, I'm really excited for this, but I want to be able to encourage and create a passionate, fun-filled work environment. That sounds a little better. A little bit. My specific program had this giant hovering mass of fear over the Japanese testing portion, which occurred at the end of my interview. There's also sometimes a rumor that there's a mock lesson where they'll give you a fake scenario and you have to just roll with it. I didn't have that actually, but it honestly could have possibly been because my city just had a lot of kids. Like, a lot. Maybe in the back of your head, like I had one, in the back of your head just have like a song or like a mini game that can pretty much be applicable to a lot of lessons, like in terms of grammar or vocabulary. The Japanese portion at the end is really not bad. Like, it's really not. And I will tell you comfortably right now, I failed. I straight up failed. Like, not even like, oh, I think I did bad. Like, I don't know if I did okay. Like, no, I bombed it. Like, blood everywhere. Mind you, I took 5 years. 5 years of Japanese, ladies and gentlemen. So at this point, I probably should know, some of this stuff. They asked me, which do you like better, the mountains or the ocean? I panicked. They had asked me, like, umi, the ocean, to, yama. I heard Toyama, and all I could think of was Mount Midoriyama because of American Ninja Warrior, or technically it's Ninja Warrior, but we kind of stole the show, yada yada yada. And I was like, what? I was like, ocean or Mount Midoriyama? What is the question? And I repeated. I was like, umi to Midoriyama, and the amount of just utter confusion just like made me sink like 20 feet into the ground. And she was just like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Oh my God, what did I say? I know that's not right. What have I done? He repeated the question and I felt stupid. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. Yeah, no, I like the mountains better. I like them better. And then he asked me why. Now, mind you, you learn, or probably will learn, adjectives, like simple describing adjectives, like your first year, like your first day. Even if you haven't learned it, you've probably learned like kirei, pretty, or, at least freaking kirei. I majored in it. So my last semester, I could literally describe to you in Japanese declining literacy rates in children due to said factors. Read an analytical social experiment based on the bystander effect to you. I can read that to you in Japanese. And this guy asked me, why do I like the mountains better than the ocean? And I said, kirei desu. Why do you like the mountains? Pretty. Huh? Pretty. I like them pretty. My interview was made up of 3 different interviewers. It had an alum from the program, a university sensei from a university I actually attended as well, because I attended 2. No pressure. A gentleman from Japan, like straight from, I think, the Japanese consulate in Japan. Like, and he was the one who asked me that question. And I literally looked at him straight in the eye and said, "Pretty, Des." I'm not going to live that down. I had 5 years of Japanese under my belt and I said pretty. But I passed. I mean, for my program, it's a bonus. Being able to speak Japanese is a bonus. So don't stress over it. Because I paid tuition to learn the language and I answered like a 2-year-old. So don't stress. The main reason why you need to be honest in your interview is because you don't know what kind of connection you're going to make with your interviewers. You might not make any. You might have absolutely nothing in common with any of them. But if you're yourself, you might surprise yourself. In my statement of purpose, I had mentioned that another main reason that I want to be an ALT is because in the future, I would like to be a video game developer in Japan. So that's why I'm doing this program, because I really want to learn to speak the language fluently so I can be a more competitive participant in the video game playing field in Japan, which obviously is going to be a lot harder than being able to speak the language, but it's a start. Read your statement of purpose. Like, you know that thing. That's another reason why you want to be honest, because they will read that and they will know it, and you better know it, because they will cite a specific line from that and say, on line 52 of paragraph 4, like, we read that this says this. What do you mean by that? And if you have no idea what that is, you're kind of messed. He pulled from my last paragraph, and where I pretty much stated, like, that's what I want to do, is I want to develop video games because I like them. And mind you, this guy was like, I guess he was probably late 20s, early 30s, and, you know, business guy. Wouldn't think that you had anything in common with him. And he seemed really excited about this. He goes, like, that sounds pretty cool. Why? Like, why, you know? So I explained that to him, and then he asked me what my favorite video game was. At the time, I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, and it's honestly still one of my favorite video games. I put a lot of money into that. After I said that, his eyes, like, perked up. He was like, whoa, those are, like, my favorite. And I was like, we have a connection, sir. Like, Tomodachi. So that was really cool. But I wouldn't have known that had I not been honest, had I just, you know, beefed up my statement of purpose. If you aren't yourself, then you probably won't make the connection. But don't be discouraged. Like, you can apply for this program, that at least my program, as many times as you want. It's really competitive, and especially if your heart's in the right place. If it's in the right place, like, you go. You go, boo-boo child. You don't stop. Believe it.